Hello and welcome to another episode of the Heron's Haven podcast here on the SoFlo Soccer channel. I am your host, Matt, season ticket member since 2020, photographer, journalist, former volunteer, and employee of Inter Miami. And here is your source for all things Inter Miami, where we give takes, opinions, news, um, previews, and reviews, and all that sort of thing. I'm very, very happy that we're here today. It's honestly been a while since we've talked about Inter Miami, since we've discussed anything Inter Miami related. Obviously, because of the international break, we've been very focused on. I'm surely all of us have been focused on Copa America, the Euros coming up, and we're all very, very excited about that. I've been doing a bit of content regarding Copa America and the Euros. I've recently made predictions for both tournaments. I'm going to be doing Argentina content throughout the entirety of the tournament, and hopefully beyond that. Um, if that's something that people are interested in. But anyways, today we're here to talk about Inter Miami, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, Inter Miami versus Philly this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an away game. We're heading to Subaru Park. Um, and we have a couple of things to talk about here. So we're going to be talking about Lionel Messi, his situation with the club. Everybody knows, at least I would assume that that he's had a recent interview with the Spanish media, and then we're going to talk a little bit about international duty with some players, um, and Inter Miami losing franchise players. Then we're going to be talking about what our chances are going to be this summer for having a pretty successful month without players like Messi, like Suarez. Who is gonna be stepping up or who should be stepping up to the plate in this time of need, and our chances against Philly. We'll do a prediction and a predicted starting 11 for this Saturday. So, without further ado, let's start with Lionel Messi and his situation at the club. So, in his most recent press conference that happened yesterday, as this is being broadcasted live, um, he talked a little bit about his retirement. He was hinting at his retirement, whether if Miami was going to be his last stop or potentially moving to his boyhood club, either Newell's Old Boys or Barcelona. And he said that for now, he has decided that Miami will be his last stop in his professional career, which honestly makes sense. It's not too much of a surprise to me, honestly, almost not at all, because of the fact that he is his birthday is literally this month on the 24th. He's pushing 40 at this point. Um, he has nothing really much else to prove. So I think Miami would just make a lot of sense to be his last club that he ever plays for. I mean, there's no point of him going back to Barcelona. There's nothing to prove at Barcelona, and going to Argentina to play for Newell's is like, why would you do that? Like, you can be here in Miami. It's probably a lot better, a lot safer here as well. But anyways, so yes, he talked about that, saying that this is going to be his last stop. And here, this is an article from FootMob, just pointing out the main quotes. Um, Talked about winning the World Cup. He's enjoying practices with Miami, and he is a bit fearful of it all ending. It's always there. It was even difficult to leave Europe to come here, Miami. Um, but yeah, it will likely be his last club, and as the fear sets in over ending his playing career sooner rather than later, there is talks of him actually staying at Miami until the 2026 World Cup. That has been just stuff that people are talking about online, that he's doing some sort of like muscle rejuvenation recover some muscle, something about muscle rejuvenation, like in the works of him preparing for the 2026 World Cup. As most of you know, his contract with Miami does expire at the end of the 2025 season, so at the end of next season. And so he might actually renew for another season. We are not sure yet. And that I feel like he will, under the condition. Obviously, if he can play for the 2026 World Cup, I think he will. At least he will do his best. He's not going to force it or anything like that. But also, Inter Miami are going to be, they're currently building Miami Freedom Park, and that should be done any minute now, honestly, or any day now. And I'm pretty sure their goal, since they have announced it, their goal is always 2026. They said it was going to be done by 2025. I'm assuming it's going to be done by 2026. I don't think it's going to be done by next season. And if it is, then if it's done by 2025, like if although if they have Miami Freedom Park ready for the 2025 season, I think that Messi won't renew, even if I don't know, because I think that the club themselves, they want to squeeze out at least one season with Messi at Miami Freedom Park. But I don't know whether he does decide to extend his contract another year to play for the 2026 World Cup here in the United States. May I remind you guys, um, is still up for debate. It's still something that there's still a lot of time to think about that. So I don't know. We'll see. I personally don't think he'll. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because I think he can make it. I think he can make it to the 2026 World Cup. Not maybe as like a starter. I don't think he can play like a full 90 minutes. I think off the bench for the last 30 would be something he could do, or even starting the game for like maybe the first 45 minutes, depending on how fit he actually is going to be by the time we get to 2026, because now he's 36 years old, so he'll be 38. He'll be 38 by the time we get to the World Cup. So I don't know. It's definitely a discussion. It's definitely there, and it's not completely out of the question. So we'll have to see. But yeah, so, and obviously his situation right now with Inter Miami is he won't be at the club until July 14th at the most, right? The latest he'll be back is July 14th or around that week when the Copa America ends. That's if Argentina make it to the final. If not, he still won't return to the club by July, essentially, like the beginning of the July. Um, he did announce that he isn't going to be playing officially. Like he 100% confirmed that he isn't going to be playing in the Olympics, which I think was pretty known, or like I guess pretty obvious, that he wasn't going to be playing in the Olympics with U23s with head coach Javier Mascherano, because of his age, because I feel like he has just a lot of responsibilities, and I feel like the workload is just way too much, especially at his age, and for his capability. I mean, like I'm sure he'd be capable of doing it, but I feel like it's just a lot of unnecessary pressure that's added onto his shoulders for no reason. I mean, he already has a lot of pressure at Inter Miami. He's obviously, I mean, I don't think he's dealing with a lot of pressure at in Argentina, but I think they are. He's definitely getting a bit of a push to win another Copa America with Argentina. But anyways, I think like him playing with the first team right in the Copa America, then not even a week later, he goes with the U23s and trains with them, has to get used to them, which probably isn't going to be that difficult. But then I think the Olympics is in Paris, right? So then he'll have to go to Paris. I think it's a whole thing. So I thought from the beginning that he wasn't going to play in the Olympics, even though they did talk about the possibility. But the possibility is always there, right? But I think I knew pretty much for a fact, even before all of this started, that he wasn't going to commit to the Olympic team, and that's totally fine. I'm pretty sure Julian Alvarez, El Dibu, and Otamendi are the three that are going to be representing Argentina as over 23 players. Um, but yes, so, which is good news for Inter Miami, right? Because obviously, because he's not committing to the Olympic team, he will actually be at Inter Miami for the rest of the summer. So from July to August, that means that he will be playing in the League's Cup if he's fully fit. Which I think that he is definitely eager to win again after winning it, after coming in last year during that League's Cup, like during the start of the League's Cup or somewhere in the beginning of the League's Cup, and ended up winning it all. So I think he's going to want to do that again with the club, and I think it's definitely winning League's Cup and winning the league itself, winning the Eastern Conference title and MLS Cup are definitely, I feel like his main priorities at at the current moment. So, hey Lionel, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you, bro. Um, but yes, that's the situation for Lionel Messi, both at the international level and at club level. Um, just to kind of recap the players that we're going to be missing due to international duty, it's Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez is officially called up for the Uruguay national team. He will be playing in the Copa America. I made a video about that a while ago. Like once that when that news was announced, I made a video on it. It's not that long, honestly. But yes, he will be replacing the injured Viñas. So that is a huge knock for Inter Miami, losing a player like Suarez. I mean, it was always a high possibility. I honestly didn't think he was going to go. Like, I didn't think he was going to be necessary, but he's going. So that sucks for Inter Miami. That's another player down that they're going to be missing for at least a month and or for at least like 3 weeks. So I think I'm pretty sure like they're going to be missing at least 5 games for Inter Miami, which is a lot of games. But anyways, so it's Messi, it's Suarez, it's Benja for the U23s. He'll be playing for the Olympic team. David Ruiz for Honduras for a couple of friendlies, and I think he's coming back. And then um, Matias Rojas. Matias Rojas will be playing for Paraguay in these friendlies, and then he probably, most likely, will be representing Paraguay in the Copa America. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he is in the final list. As I'm doing this, I don't think the final list for Paraguay has been announced yet. They have until Saturday to officially make their 26-man roster. But I'm like 99.9% positive that Matias Rojas will be part of that 26-man roster for Paraguay. So that is what, 6 players? Messi, Suarez, Cremaschi, Ruiz, 5 players. That's 5 players that Inter Miami are going to be missing for a month. And those are 5 insanely important players. 3 of them being midfielders, obviously our 2 best attacking players. We're still gonna have Busquets, we're still gonna have Alba, but I taking not having those 5 players is really, really going to be a challenge. Even though, but what I can say though is that we do have the depth for it. Like even without Cremachi, even without Ruiz, we still have Gressel, we still have Redondo, we still have Bright. Um, and I think and obviously we still have Busi who can play in that midfield three. So like the ideal midfield three would be Busi, Redondo, and Bright. And then obviously we still have the younger players like Sunderland. And so I honestly think we should be okay for the next couple of weeks if everybody can stay fit. But it's going to be very, very difficult, which would be a good, transition to who should be stepping up and who could be stepping up to the plate. Um, Obviously, we're still missing players like Diego Gomez. We're still missing players like Facundo Farias, even though he has returned from not returned from training, returned to training from his injury. He's not going to be playing anytime soon. Is expected. It's said that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. He'll probably be back for like postseason. And maybe they'll play him like off the bench if necessary. We still have Ian Frey who's out. He is back, like he's playing and he's been playing for the second team, but I don't know if he's going to be ready for the first team yet. It is still a huge possibility that he can be on the bench. He can start on the bench, which would be very, very, very good for us defensively. I think that'll give us another great option on defense. And if he does hit the ground running, then he could honestly just jump right into that a starting position. But we don't want to rush that. We don't want to make the same mistake we did with Redondo and rushing him and then pulling a groin like after playing a first full 90. And and the last known injury would be obviously Robbie Robinson, but there's honestly never any news of him, which is annoying because we could really use a player like Robbie Robinson. But I don't even know how good of a player he would be coming back from injury. So we'll just have to see how he is coming back from injury. He'll probably get minutes with the second team um, when he does come back, when he's able to be fit and ready to play. And the other injury is Freire. Nicolas Freire, who will be out guaranteed for the rest of the season because of a ligament injury. I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL. Very, very unfortunate. And we still have Jean, the Frenchman that we've signed like 2 seasons ago. Like we still have him. He played for the B team not that long ago, like 2 games ago. So having him as an option off the bench honestly isn't bad at all. We obviously signed Carmichael, a youth player from our second team, on like a 6 month loan contract. Obviously, we have Leo Afonso, another attacking player. We do have Santiago Morales, who I'm pretty sure is on a pro contract with us, and he's been playing for the B team. He's the captain of the B team. So um, we have options. We have, especially with the younger players, we have a lot of options off the bench. We still have Noah Allen and things like that. So I think depth, even though we do have quite a bit of players missing and quite a few players injured, we still have a lot of depth in the squad. And I think compared to most teams in the MLS, we still are a very strong squad on paper. And we can definitely do some damage, especially against this Philly side. I'm expecting a lot of players to step up. Campana being probably the main focus, right? Campana is going to be the main focus, him being the number 9 again. Um, Luis Suarez is not here, so that means Campana is going to be getting all the game time in the world. So he's going to have to really, really take advantage of this opportunity. Obviously, losing his starting spot to Luis Suarez, he has been getting a lot of game time, but every time that he does play and get minutes, he is very, very impactful. So, with that being said, he needs to, like I said, he needs to take advantage of this position and take advantage of the situation and try to perform and play the best football that he can. The same thing with Robert Taylor. Obviously, with losing Messi and losing Matias Rojas, he's going to be our best option as an attacking player, as a winger. So he is going to have to. Not that they, and I'm not saying these guys don't step up ever. I'm just saying that they're gonna have to step up now more than ever. Really, like they're gonna like this is now the time to really, really dive in and give it your 150%. But yeah, Campana, Robert Taylor, I think Julian Gressel is definitely a player that needs to step up even more, which is I think is unfair to say honestly because of the fact that I think he's already been doing a pretty decent job. But I think now the um with the absence of Cremaschi, with the absence of Ruiz and Matias Rojas, we don't really have another attacking midfielder, and we don't really have another, I guess, reliable midfielder in that role. And because we do have the young players, right? We still have we have Sunderland, we have Morales, and we have Redondo, but that's like it's not the same. We definitely are lacking depth in that midfield role because even let's say our best starting midfield, I think in my opinion, is Redondo, Busi, and maybe Bright or Bright, Busi, and Gressel. And those four midfielders are great. But then outside of those, like if we need to replace two of them, we can't because we're not going to have anybody real. I trust in Bright and I trust in Gressel. I trust in Redondo. But then outside of that, I think having a Cremaschi would have been useful. Having a Ruiz would have been nice. But unfortunately, we're going to be a little lacking a little bit in that midfield when it comes to depth. Um, the defense is gonna have to step up more than ever. This is the time where the defense can't be struggling. Um, Drake Calendar hasn't been called up for the national team, so we're gonna be keeping him. I think he is going to have to step up in goal, and I think honestly the entire defense is gonna have to step up. Like I'm Alba and Busi do their thing, right? But Aviles, Chelo, if Ian Frey comes back, he's gonna hopefully he doesn't have to. I don't think he's gonna have to deal with that pressure, but they're really, really gonna have to step up defensively because we have nobody else. We literally have nobody else. And there are rumors that we will be signing a center back this summer, whether that's like Nacho, whether that's another like Argentinian defender. But we have been rumored to be, linked with a bunch of players, which we always will be, right? Because we're Inter Miami. And because ever since Lionel Messi has joined, we're linked with every single retiring European player in the world. But it's I think it's gonna be more than ever because and I it's gonna be more than it's gonna be difficult now more than ever defensively because of the fact that we don't have I don't want to say a reliable attack, but we don't have as clinical of an attack um because we don't have Messi, because we don't have Suarez. I think it's going to be difficult to outscore our opponents. So even if we concede, we were pretty good at just scoring back and just answering back in that way. But I think it's going to be more difficult losing, obviously, our two top goal scorers, despite having Campana and Robert Taylor and even Leo Alfonso up top, possibly. So I really, really hope that we can try to limit the amount of goals we concede in games. Um, Even if that means like fighting for draws, like honestly, I for the next couple weeks, I would much rather prefer for us to fight for a draw than to drop all 3 points, because of poor defensive efforts. So, but yeah, um, it's yeah, no, it's definitely going to be interesting. Ace Lionel in the chat says Varane from Man U. We've been linked with a lot of players, man. It's Varane, Nacho, somebody else. They did say Sergio Ramos, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be going to San Diego end up if he ends up going to the MLS. Um, I don't know. Like, it's honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, because in order for us to sign a player this summer, we're going to have to trade somebody. We're going to have to let somebody go. And that's going to be an international player. Obviously, it has to be an international player, and whoever's coming has to take a massive, massive pay cut, especially if they're coming from Europe. So unless we get a loan deal, unless we sign somebody on loan, like an Argentinian player, like because we have Chelo on loan, and I'm pretty sure Freire is on loan as well. Um, so unless we sign somebody on loan, then I don't know, where somebody's gonna have to go. And whether that's Diego Gomez, whether that's Facundo Farias, whether that's I don't know, literally any other international player that we have on the team, we're not going to be able to sign anybody. But I can definitely see us do it, especially in the circumstances that we're in now, especially if that European player, that retiring player, can give us a good like two years, I want to say. I think it would be worth it, because in those 2 years it will give us enough time to just develop more youngsters, and even if we don't develop them from our academy, we can just sign younger players, younger defenders. So I can definitely see Varane coming. I could definitely see Nacho coming. It's gonna be very, very interesting this summer. I think I just have this gut feeling that Inter Miami are going to be making some transfers. Do you think Suarez is going to play for another season? He said that this is his one and only season with Inter Miami. I highly doubt, especially if he wins Copa America. If Uruguay win the Copa America, I see zero possibility that Suarez will play another season with Inter Miami. Zero possibility, especially if they win the Copa America. And if they don't win the Copa America, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think Suarez will sign again for another year, especially if they want to bring in Di Maria. And if Di Maria really, really wants to join Miami, I think they're going to do whatever they can to just not re-sign Suarez and bring in Di Maria. Because I think with Di Maria, they'll probably get at least one season with Di Maria, right? Obviously, I don't know if he'll sign two, but they're going to get one season with Di Maria, and they'll just kind of rotate, I guess, when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, no, I know Suarez is taking up an international slot, but the thing is, we need that slot now, and we can trade. I think I don't know which teams have available international slots, but if there are any available, I don't know if there's a limit of how many international slots you can get. I don't think so for each individual team because international slots are tradable. That's how we were able to get Chedo. We traded it in, no, excuse me. That's how we were able to get Matias Rojas. We traded, we gave, I think it was Montreal some money and we were given an international slot. And that's how we were able to sign Rojas. I think we might do the same if there is an international slot available, but I don't know if there is one available, and that's the problem. But if there is a club that has an open international slot and we give them money and we take that slot, then and if it's not Di Maria, it's gonna be a defender, 100%. So, but that gets a little trickier because then you got to play with salary and you got to worry about the cap and things like that, and then Gam and Tam is thrown into the mix. So that is all business, right? But I could definitely see it happening if there's an international slot available. But anyways, yes. So let's move on to what we look like at at the table. I want to show you guys this really quickly. Boom. So this is what the table currently stands at. For those of you who are listening on Spotify, I'm pulling up the current standings of the MLS. So we have Inter Miami still in first place with 2 games in hand, with 35 points. Cincinnati in second place, 16 games played, 33 points. And we are playing against Philly this Saturday, and they are all the way down in eighth position, 16 games played, 20 points. This is probably the worst Philly side that we've seen since pre-COVID. And Philly have always been a very good side, but I have no idea what's been going on this year. I don't know if it's because of injuries. I don't know if it's just because of just really bad performances, because that just tends to happen here, especially in the MLS. But they are really, really struggling, and they haven't been struggling like this since like 2015, 2016, something like that. And if you look at their, we're playing at Subaru Park. So if you look at their home record, which is right here, their home record is 1-4-3. They have won 1 game at home in 16 games. That is and this is one of the worst home records this season. Orlando being another one, and then there was one more. I think it's Seattle. It is Seattle with 1-1-5. I'm pretty sure that's the worst one, having 5 losses or five. I think it's 5 draws, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, 5 ties. Really, really, really bad. So for their goals against, they've conceded 23 goals in 16 games. It's like that's really like pushing it, honestly. I mean, we've conceded 27, but we scored 42. So yeah, honestly, like I was kind of hyping them up. I was a little bit worried, like just seeing them on paper, but then actually diving into their squad and into their history this season, at least. Um, it's honestly not as scary as I thought it was going to be playing against Philly. I also want to I want to show you guys this article to what I think did a pretty good preview. And for those of you on Spotify listening, I will be I'm just going to read this article out loud by Sports Mall. So let me start with here. I'm probably going to cut this part out, but uh, ba, 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 ba. Okay, yeah, let me just start with here. So it says here on Saturday, the Union will officially reach the midway point of the regular season, narrowly above the playoff line in the Eastern Conference. Jim Curtin's men, who is the head coach, are currently eighth place with only 3 points separating them from DC United, who are also outside of the playoff picture. Since May, the team has slowly started in most of their matches, with 3 of their previous 10 MLS goals coming in the opening half. In 2024, the Union have struggled to get results in their home field, suffering 4 defeats in the regular season, and most of them in a single domestic campaign since 2018. So in 2018, they lost 6. They suffered 6 defeats at home in the entirety of the 2018 campaign, and so far we're at the halfway point, and they've already suffered 4. So that's very, very, very bad on their end. For all of their chances created throughout the regular season, they have not been as consistent defensively, conceding multiple strikes on 9 occasions. One thing this team has done effectively all year is react well, going from behind, coming back to earn a result in six domestic encounters when trailing in the second half, collecting 8 points in the process. No matter what the opposition throws at them, Miami will always seek to fight back, which was the case against St. Louis in their previous encounter. Tata Martino's men trailed on 3 occasions in that encounter, but found a way back each time, with 21 of their 35 domestic points occurring after conceding the opening goal. Unsurprisingly, the Herons are at the top of the MLS scoring charts with a league high of 42 goals, though they have regressed defensively in recent games, conceding 3 times in successive encounters. With nearly half of the campaign still to go, they are only on with nearly half of the domestic campaign still to go, they are on pace to equal an MLS record for the most goals ever scored in a single regular season, a record currently held by a 1998 LA Galaxy team and the 2019 edition of the LAFC with 85. Since a 4-0 defeat at the New York Red Bulls on match day 6, Miami are unbeaten in their last 5 contests away from home, their longest run in club history. And after losing their first 2 visits to Subaru Park, the Herons have points. The Herons have points in 3 of their previous 4 away matches versus the Union, winning their last encounter in Chester during the 2023 Leagues Cup semifinals 4-1. So yeah, we absolutely destroyed them last time out in the Leagues Cup. But as you can tell, this is a we're looking a lot better than Philly at the moment, especially in terms of form. Philadelphia in their last 6 games, their record is 1-3-2. 1-3-2. 1 win, 3 draws, 2 losses. Miami, however, on the other hand, in their last 6 games are 3 wins, 2 ties, and 1 loss. So we're actually doing a lot better in terms of form. And I think squad wise, I'm going to scroll a little bit down. Squad wise as well, we are also doing a lot better. Obviously, their main guy, Julian Carranza, is being linked to a. I should say licked. their main their main player and pretty much probably their best player, arguably in my opinion, Julian Carranza, is been linked to a squad, or a team, I should say, in Europe. Most likely it is going to be Feyenoord. They have been talks, they have been contractual talks, and I think they've agreed on verbal terms. Um, but nothing has been signed, nothing has been put pen to paper. Um, but still, I'm pretty sure Julian Carranza is focusing on moving away from Philly, either now in the summertime or at the end of the season. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be now, sometime this summer. So he's probably going to be focusing on that, and not really having, even though he probably will be, quote unquote, focusing on still playing well for Philly and scoring goals. I think his main focus is trying to get that move to Feyenoord. But anyways, it also says here in the article, in their draw with Montreal, the Union were missing Julian Carranza with a minor ankle knock. Andre Blake and Isaiah Leflore were sidelined due to injuries, while Holden Trent was unavailable because of a sore finger. Jack Elliott will be suspended for this match as well after receiving a straight red card just beyond the half-hour mark in their previous encounter, while Damian Lowe could miss this match as he is expected to be selected for the Jamaican squad ahead of the Copa America. Daniel God, excuse me, Daniel Gazdag was named the Daniel Gazdag was named to the Hungarian squad for the Euros, which begins this weekend, while Jose Martinez was selected to the Venezuelan team for the Copa America campaign and may be questionable for this match. That's a lot of players, guys. That is a lot of players. Julian Carranza, Andre Blake, Isaiah Leflore, Holden Trent, Jack Elliott, Damian Lowe, Daniel Gazdag, Martinez. That's a lot. That's a lot of players leaving for injury, leaving for international duty, and they are looking. And Philly are already looking as shaky as it is, and they're not having pretty much their star players. Everybody's going on international duty. Everybody's injured. We are looking really, really good compared to Philly, in my opinion. Some of these, I feel like some of these injuries are a little bit outdated. Like there's no I don't no because this I don't think so. Maybe not. Yeah, no, no, yeah, maybe not. Okay. So yeah, no, those injuries are like pretty up to date. I'm pretty sure this article came out today. So yeah, honestly, having all those injuries, losing all of those players, we are looking very, very good right now. Especially if we play pretty much our best starting 11. Um, and we actually like we don't pull in Inter Miami and we just don't mess up. I think we're gonna be doing just fine. But and with that being said, I think we're gonna be. Oh, I just dropped my pen. But with that being said, I think we're gonna be doing pretty well in terms of scoring goals. I think we should be scoring goals against these guys. Like they said, they have a strong first half. They always have a strong first half. So we actually might concede in the first half. But I think at the end of the day, I think we're gonna be able to score two past them. At least two, I think I should. With Campana starting, and I think if Leo Alfonso gets some game time, Robert Taylor, I think we should be able to, I don't want to say easily, but we should be winning this game at Subaru Park. Uh, Philly, though, are going to have a lot of motivation to get a result out of us, especially knowing that we don't have the likes of Messi, of Suarez, of Matias Rojas, and all of our pretty much franchise players. So it is going to be very difficult because they still are going to play hard and they're going to have a point to prove, especially at home. They know that they're struggling at home. They know they only won one game at home, so they're going to want to change that. We just can't go into this game pretty complacent because obviously I think Inter Miami know what the situation is for both sides, and if they go in complacent, we're already going to lose the game. So with that being said, I do want to talk about a predicted starting 11 for these upcoming fixture. Um, I'm making a graphic, or I think I've already made the graphic. I just have to actually upload it and post it, but I think it should be pretty standard. I think I've already talked about a lot of the players, like I said, that should be stepping up, that should be, that should be starting and should be playing. Okay, let me put it at full screen so you guys can see it properly. But yeah, this is the starting 11 that I think they're gonna go for. In net, we're gonna have Drake Calendar here. Let me lower. Let me make myself a little smaller so you can see that. Okay. So in net, we're gonna have Drake Calendar. Obviously, the back four: Jordi Alba, Kritsov, Aviles, and Chelo. For the midfield, Bright, I think, is gonna get a start with Sergio Busquets and Redondo. I think this is gonna be our best midfield, and I think Gressel is gonna be moving to the right wing with Campana and Taylor as the front three. Now, Campana, excuse me. Now, I think Gressel can move to that center mid spot like he's always been playing, like in that right center mid role. Redondo can shift back over to the left, or even Bright, whoever he decides to play. And they could play Leo Alfonso or probably another attacker up there, or go two up top with Robert Taylor and Campana, or Leo Alfonso and Campana, and play um Robert Taylor as a left mid with Bright and Sergio as the double pivot, and then Gressel as the right mid or right wing, and then everybody else would stay the same. So I think honestly, this would be our best bet going into the game. I think starting Bright could be very, very good for us, especially, and that'll allow Redondo to get further up the field, and that'll not even just Redondo, that'll allow Sergio Busquets getting up the field, being a more creative player. I think he's going to be very important bringing the ball up the field and looking for those passes and try to create as many opportunities as he can. He's pretty much going to be Messi just in the midfield, but as a CDM. So like I've always said, he is the pendulum of the team, and I feel like the entire team ticks when he is in it. So without him, I feel like we're really going to struggle. But I think with him in the midfield and him pushing a little further up the field, I think offensively we should be able to create a lot of good passes, a lot of good attacks, finding space, creating runs. and playing like 1-2s and such and things like that. And with Bright and Redondo staying back, even with Redondo pushing a little further up and Bright staying back, I think it's still pretty good because obviously we'll have the three defenders of Kritsov, Bright, and Aviles. Aviles and Bright being the defenders with more pace, and then Kritsov being more of a stopper. Um, and I think with the overlaps of Jordi Alba and Cello, I think offensively we should be honestly chilling. So um, the only problem would be here is that if anybody were to get injured, and that's the worst case scenario, and this would completely go out the window. But I think, like I said, this is going to be our best starting 11 for this Saturday, and with that, I want to predict a score for this Saturday as well. So I think with this lineup, going against a very struggling Philadelphia Union side at Subaru Park. They only won one game at home. I think Inter Miami should be getting this win 2-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, but I think we'll allow a goal in the first half and then we'll score one also in the first half and then we'll get a second in the second half. Whether we get a third, I don't know, but I know for sure we should be scoring 2 goals and winning the game, and I think they will be scoring one against us. But that is going to be my prediction. You guys let me know in the comments down below. If you are watching on YouTube, please feel free to let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If you are on Spotify, feel free to head over to the YouTube channel and join us while I do go live for these episodes. And feel free to interact in the chat, giving me your thoughts, opinions, takes, and predictions. So, Ace Lionel also says 2-1 in the chat. Thank you so much for your prediction. I highly um, anticipate a win for this game against Philly. I also hope that there are no injuries for these next couple matches. These players are really going to have to be careful. I think that should be rotating the side as much as you possibly can, especially with the attacking players and especially the ones with really high work rates like Gressel and even Redondo if he is fit, because I know he had that groin injury. So rotation is going to be, rotation is going to be key. But yeah, I think that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the SoFlo Soccer. Thank you, not the SoFlo Soccer podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of the Heron's Favorite podcast here on the SoFlo Soccer channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed and turn the notification bell on to keep up to date with more Inter Miami news and for soccer/football content. I will be doing tomorrow. I'll be going live. I'll probably be doing the live in Spanish. I started a new show called Selección Central for all things Argentina related, and I'm pretty sure I think I'm gonna start doing that in Spanish. I think I'm comfortable enough to do all that in Spanish. So hopefully it probably won't be the best, but I'm gonna do my very best regardless. I think it'll be pretty fun. But that's going to be tomorrow for Argentina versus Guatemala. And then on Saturday, obviously, Inter Miami play. So I will be live after the game for my post-game reaction. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much again. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And vamos Miami.